Hello, Internet! Welcome to Two and a Half Brains. We're talking all about the latest episode of The Amazing Race Season 32, Episode 2. We'll break it all down, talk about what happened and who did well, who didn't do well, what went wrong for the losing team, and talk about what's going to happen going forward and who we predict is doing well, who's not doing as well. Our power rankings here at the end. Be sure to subscribe to get all the updates. Don't miss anything. You can also email the show directly, paveroproductions@gmail.com. That's paveroproductions@gmail.com. You can tweet me directly, Yo Grab a Gabba. You can also like the Facebook page, facebook.com/paveroproductions. We're trying to get out as much content as we can here. It's been very busy, as always, but we're trying to get as much as we can for you guys as timely as possible. Trying to get caught up here, at least on The Amazing Race, and then maybe do some other fun mastering stuff at some point in the future. We'll see. But let's go ahead and before we go any further, let's go and bring the co-host, Jessica.
Hi.
Come on in.
You're going to get run over, Bailey. Well.
If you hear a screeching dog, it means Bailey get run over by the freaking chair.
I'm not going to do it. He's fine.
How do you find you on Twitter?
Just T820.
Yeah, I'm not on Twitter really anymore, so
No,
it's just too much garbage on there. But anyway, this is episode 2 of The Amazing Race, talking all about what happened. We're going to break it down and give our thoughts and end it with power rankings. So as we get started here, Jessica, why don't you give us your thoughts on the second episode of the season? Just initial thoughts.
It's good. Like from the first episode, everybody's all over the place. I feel like it's going to continue to be that way where everyone is just, there's no clear-cut winner. Hang-Chi has been first in the first 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, everybody else, it's always turned into a crapshoot sometimes. So I don't think there's any clear winners, maybe one that's kind of leading the pack, but there's really no clear-cut way to the top at this point.
For sure. And, as it's kind of been, there's a few teams who are really bad, a few teams who are really good, and a few teams who are kind of right in the middle. And last season was for sure, there was that defining line of the teams who had a shot, teams who had no shot, and then teams who were, you kind of could make an argument for if you squint hard enough. Mm-hmm. So I think there was I think it's a good. I think there's a group of probably 5-6 teams I could see winning for sure. Mm-hmm. But there's some other ones who are absolutely dominating, and some others who are not long for this show, I would say.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and do you want to start with just kind of what happened, or kind of go over general episode overall?
It's up to you, whatever order you want to go.
Let's go ahead and just kind of give a quick rundown of the episode here, episode 2. So do you kind of go over kind of what happened in what order a little bit, or is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Okay, so start with episode 2 here. What kind of happened?
You're asking me?
Well,
I know based off in the notes, like the roadblock, if you want me to go into that stuff.
Sure, let's do that.
Description, because...
Well, they went from Trinidad and Tobago to Colombia.
Yeah, they went to Colombia. I don't really remember how they got to the point of having to do...
Oh, they have to Colombia. They took the flight. They're all on the same flight, so there's no advantage.
Yeah.
And then they got to the location, and there's a couple little... That wasn't really much. I mean, to really get there, it's kind of yada yada.
They got to the place with the thing, with the clue.
Yeah.
And did the thing.
Yeah, exactly. As they always do. So the clown round, there was a roadblock they had to do. Tell me about that.
So one person was chosen, obviously, out of each group. They started by doing, like, the wheel. They were holding on to the wheel being spun across, like, the area. Then they had to do a tightrope. First way down was... had to carry a bottle of wine. The second way, it was a bottle of wine and 2 glasses of wine. And they had to tightrope back and forth in order to pass that. For sure.
And as I say, obviously roadblocks, test one person can perform, and they, you have to kind of watch because you have one person do all of them. You have to, you have to somewhat...
Got to know your strengths and weaknesses, too.
For sure. Obviously there's...
You can hear clowning around right now in the background.
Yes, Bailey's being a clown. And then from there, they got the roadblock completed, and then what happened after that? You know?
So they received their clue to go to the Trick Out the Truck
For sure. Yeah. And
They
so
had
the
to decorate the truck, as the example showed, and the biggest hidden part of it is that they had to connect the horns. That said clearly in the clue what they had to do, but almost nobody read that part.
a lot of teams missed it. A lot of teams missed it for sure. There's a recurring theme. We'll talk about it here in a minute with this whole season. But yeah, they had to trick on the truck, and then they had to once everything was set up the way it was supposed to be. They had to do the horn and
And they passed on to the final leg where they met what's his face with the guy at the place
Phil.
that did flips. Yeah, Phil. I don't remember his name.
So what they had the first 5 teams. We got there all forming alliance too. So that was Will and James. It was DeAndre and Gary. It was the volleyball brothers. It was Hung and Chi. It was Esbar and Esbar and Esbar.
I remember it now.
Okay.
So for the very first part of the episode, they had to go to the salt mine.
True.
And they had to get the timers if they wanted to.
Yes.
They wanted to detour anybody. Nobody used it. That they picked
yield.
their time, their yield. They picked their time, either 6 or 6:30, to start their voyage to get their clues.
True. So that's
That
the
was
important part.
that was the first part.
So
of
they
this
had to go there and
episode.
they had to find a timer, either a 20-minute
or 20
a
minute.
10-minute or 20-minute timer for how long the person would have to be yielded that they played it on.
Yes.
And then they had to get one and they had to search for one and then they had to go to sign up on the board.
Yes.
So the decision was, well, do we look for a 21 or we just grab the closest one so we can sign up? So in theory, getting whichever one's the fastest is probably the best because...
No one's going to do it that early. No one's going to use the yield that early. or
Well,
anything.
true, but also, if you think about it...
Yeah, I don't really. I agree.
I mean, if you think about it, you're saving 30 minutes you're saving 30 minutes by getting on the board, first,
Yeah.
as opposed to saving 10 minutes with the yield. You're better off getting a 10-minute yield to have a 20-minute yield and getting on the first one. Now, if you're going to be the last one on the last, flight or whatever, anyways, you might as well just grab
I know.
the 20-minute one. So that's true. Then they got to the roadblock and
Yeah, and then they got to the truck, checked out the truck, had to do the horns, missed the horns.
for sure.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. So, and listen, and the big part of the problem is, they, there were different alliances, and then they decided to help each other out a little bit. The ones who got it would tell their other friends or whatever.
Yeah, so the ones at 6 a.m. formed an alliance together. The
Right.
5. Yeah.
Right, the 5. Then there was the 5 who were there at 6:30. So we got down to it, and the Alana and Leo got theirs. They were near the end, and they told Kaylin and Haley about the horn,
Yeah.
and they got that fixed. They got taken care of, and they were able to get out. And it came down to Jerry and Frank, and then Levon and Kelly. Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know why, but with Jerry and them, I keep saying the wrong name and I keep picking random names, and I was about to blurt out Jerry and Leroy. I don't know why. I just can't remember their names. I can't remember one of the others.
Gary and DeAndre, and Jerry and Frank and Levon and Kelly. You're mixing them all up there. They're all one big name.
I know.
So yeah, that's what it came down to at the end. And they actually looked like the taxi was causing some issues with Kaylin and Haley there a little bit too. But they ended up getting to the end, getting to see Phil, and the last team making there was Kelly and Levon.
Yeah, they also had trouble with their taxi because their taxis, wasn't it theirs that died? Or was it
Oh,
Kaylee's?
yeah, no. So Kaylin and Haley had problems with traffic, but Levon and Kelly, their guy's GPS, is that the guy's
It was
GPS?
his phone died and he didn't have a charger because he lent it to a different taxi.
Yeah.
So they were just driving blindly.
Yeah.
Eventually they found it, but yeah, they were going blindly.
Yeah, that hurt too. They said that too. They said on the show, the luck of the draw can definitely be a problem. You know, if you get a bad taxi cab driver, you could be in great shape. And you could. I mean, I remember watching an episode. It was years ago. I mean, this was early 2000s. Well, it was probably one of the earlier seasons of the show.
Taxi.
Amazing Race.
I know, I'm not that dumb.
And they had, I agree, you're not that dumb. And they had, I haven't done it in a while, the fast forward. Do you remember that? Fast forward is like when you're at the first challenge, you can do a separate challenge that's off to the side. And if you get that right, you skip all the challenges right to the end.
No, I didn't.
They haven't really done it in a while. I don't know if it just whatever, but it was interesting because that team got the fast forward, so they had to skip all the other tasks, go directly to the end.
Yeah.
But their taxi cab driver was so bad they got lost, ended up losing.
Yeah.
So they should have had first easy, no problem. But their taxi cab driver was so bad they got lost, and I guess they just were driving in the wrong direction for a long time, and ended up getting to pit stop and last and lost.
That's unfortunate.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Ridiculous. So taxi cab drivers can be a problem. So, with that being said, let's go into why those sprinters lost. What happened? What went wrong?
Well, I think we talked about it. They didn't work well as a team. And I don't know if it was even 100% that. I just think they underestimated the game a little bit.
Sure.
And they picked poorly for who did what tasks between the first and second episode. Some of it was out of their control with the taxi and things like that. But I just don't think the choices were there for them. And then, thinking that this is a race instead of, it's more mental than anything.
For sure. Stamina, a lot goes into it.
Stamina, but it's also puzzles. It's all puzzles. So if you're not good at puzzles or figuring things out, then you're going to struggle.
So I just want to say about how the taxi cab driver can kill you, and that certainly did play a factor, but that's not why they lost.
Yeah.
I think I co-sign everything you said, and then we kind of segue into our last point before we get into the power rankings here, and that is they always put on the screen #read your clue. This season has been a theme. Even Alana and Leo said it. They said we messed up last time not reading our clue all the way. We messed up this time not reading our clue all the way. Hopefully we learn for next time to read our clue all the way.
Attention to detail.
Attention to detail is so important. You're in a race. You're in a hurry. You want to go. You don't want to worry about little details. You have to. You have to. They did so many of them. It was right in plain English in their clue. Set up the horn. Let them have them off the horn.
Yeah.
And granted, sometimes it's a play on words, right? Sometimes it doesn't mean what it actually says. But when you see a horn there,
it said something to set up the horn for the village people or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you see the horns in the front of your truck, so put two and two together.
Right. So again, it's not necessarily plain. I mean, sometimes there's a play on word, and that's kind of what it was a little bit, but. You gotta slow down. You gotta read your clue, because guess what? You can do it all. You can do it awesome. You can do it perfect. But if you do it wrong, it doesn't matter, right, Bailey? Jessica's face tastes delicious today.
He's giving me kisses. He doesn't care.
Oh, he loves his mom.
Just decorating a truck based off of another truck seems pretty easy, like too damn easy to me. That something's got to be up. Like, I don't think anything is ever that simple.
Usually not.
There's usually some sort of twist if it's something easy. But.
For sure. So I think the biggest thing that they did wrong, they underestimated the race. They thought it was going to be way easier than it was. Please talk more, Jessica.
Yuck.
Awesome. Jessica's getting a bath today. I think the biggest thing, though, I think they underestimated the race. They're like, we're fast, we're sprinters, we can hurdle. We're athletes, but there's so much more. I mean, there's so much more that goes into it. The strongest relationships do the best.
Strong bonds do last long.
Sure. And I think
Roy Bailey. All I hear is.
I don't know what makeup we have on today, but he loves it.
I didn't have makeup on today. I work from home. All I see is myself.
Okay. Well, I don't know what it is, but it tastes delicious, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think what they did wrong, it's a lot. They thought they underestimated the race. They thought it was gonna be a lot of just physical stuff, and there's a lot to that, yes, but it's also communicating well. It's also figuring things out. It's also taking time and reading the clue, and looking for little hints in that as well. And then it's also luck involved as well. I mean, I say all the time, a bad taxi cab driver can end somebody's game. It certainly can happen. But the best teams have bad days and overcome them. The bad teams have good days and undercome them, I guess you can say. Right? The taxi cab driver wasn't great, but they were the only team that had a taxi issue. They didn't work well. I mean, they worked fine together, but they made bad decisions. And then they didn't take the time to read their clue. And they underestimated what the race was going to be. And I think that's why the sprinters lost in this case. The Olympians.
Yeah. Sure.
Anything else to add? You already kind of said all that, but
I did.
I kind of wanted to just put a bow on it and wrap it up there.
You're good. I know my comments aren't great.
No, it made perfect sense. I said so there's a couple of little things to add to it, but I think overall it was good.
That's it. I think we've talked enough about
read your clue. Read your clue. That's the theme of the season. These players are all trying to get that extra advantage. If you take the time to read the entire clue all the way through in detail before you go out and do it, then that's going to help a lot. And not reading your clue will kill you. And it said James and Will said it. It says they're super fans. They've seen every episode of the show, and they didn't read their clue. Like you gotta, and you caught up in the moment. You don't do it, but you gotta read your clue.
Being a super fan doesn't help anybody in most shows.
It's true. It's definitely true. There's been the occasional where I've seen it happen where super fan does the Amazing Race a few seasons ago. I hated that team, but they were super fans and they ended up winning. But again, it's one of those things where it can definitely happen. But you've got it again. You've got to knowing what you know helps, but knowing too much also doesn't always help. As you've learned.
Yes, sir.
So, any other thoughts, or I'll move on to the power rankings?
I think we need to move on.
Let's move on to the power rankings this week. So there are 10 teams starting the week. The Olympians got knocked out. So now we're down to 9, and we're ranked from 9 to 1. This isn't necessarily the placement order or anything like that, just kind of how we feel about these teams, who's doing well, and kind of a full body of work type of thing of so far, here's where these teams lie, and we'll kind of count them a little bit as we go through. So, who is team number 9?
Kaylin and Haley.
Kaylin and Haley. Why are they here?
Yeah. I mean, they're doing okay. They got help. They got help from the other teams on what they're missing. They kind of have an alliance outside of the other alliance. But I just don't think they also don't pay attention to much detail and definitely try and skip forward on things. And everybody gets so eager and wants to just run, but it's worth taking a minute to step back.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you especially if you're a task or the other person's working out part of the task, you take a minute and read the whole clue.
Yeah.
That's going to save you.
One person starts, the other person works.
Right. It makes a lot of sense to do that. I think, again, Alana and Leo said they want to help out the girls because they like them and they're nice.
Yeah.
Which is great. But you can't expect a team who's really good to get a lot of help. If you're great, they would have been last, and most likely, had Leo and Alana not told them about the horn.
Right.
So they're not. They didn't really make it on their own accord, and they're. If you're a great team, you're probably not going to get a lot of help because the other teams want you to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And they don't. Nobody wants to knock them out because they're easy.
Terrible, so they want to keep them around.
For sure. A final 3 with them and 2 other people should be pretty easy.
Right.
What's next?
Frank and Jerry.
Yeah, Frank and Jerry. Yeah, that's it. Tom and Jerry.
Frank and Leroy. Anyway.
Oh my God, Jessica.
I don't know.
I don't know where you got Leroy from.
I really don't know.
I guess he kind of looks like Leroy a little bit. I can see it. An older guy a little bit, a basketball coach. I can see it.
I keep thinking of different names that are not the correct names.
Well,
I remember all of their names.
I think you got Levon, and then you got Gary and D'Angelo mixed.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, but why are they 8th?
mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing. Attention to detail. They also, almost everybody missed the horn though. So
Mostly.
like taking that out of it, you're there with probably the oldest person that's there.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna take you a little longer to get things done. I think it's because they also got the second spot of time, so they also started later the next day.
Certainly.
The clown thing they got through pretty quickly, but the decorating of the truck is just where everybody got really messed up.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. Again, they're one of those things I would put in the bottom tier of teams. They're not a very strong team. I think they have a good bond. I think they get together, work well together. I was a little bit worried about them going into it because of the father son thing could be an issue, and but he was Frank's coach, so they definitely have that good working relationship in high stress situations.
Yeah.
They definitely do communicate well. And I really don't think it's an age thing for Jerry. I really don't. I just think it's a thing where they they're a little bit slower. They don't quite have it, and I don't know. They're not the strongest team. I think eventually it will catch up to them. I think they'll be on with the next few weeks for sure.
Yeah, I like them though.
I do too. I really like them too. I could have made them my winner pick, just for a likability factor.
Right.
I don't know. There's two kinds of father-son teams. There's a father-son team who just dominates everything, and there's a father-son team that just falls apart. And I think unfortunately they're the latter than the former.
Mm-hmm.
What is next? Who's our next? Was that number 7?
Will and James.
Will and James. Yeah. So why are they here?
I think they have a hard time working together somewhat. Let's say different personalities, but like one's kind of probably more high strung than the other. I do think that they overcome things, but they also weren't paying attention to detail either. What was it? Will asked, James asked Will about reading the clue again. He said it's in his bag. He said no.
Yeah.
Basically, so if they would have did that, it probably would have cut some time. They probably would have did a little bit better. So
For sure.
next time, just let one person read it.
Yeah, James said, should we review the clue? Will said, no, it's my bad, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then they also argued again about who should do the clown thing because they said they thought Will would be better at it, but James hadn't done one yet. So they said, well, James should just do this one. That Will said, no, James said, no, we have a plan to, you're going to do this kind, I'm going to do this kind.
Yeah.
This is going to fit you more than me. And then obviously James is going to have to do probably the next one because they can't have that one person do all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it probably was a good decision though to have him do
it was
because of
for
his
sure.
background.
For sure.
Yeah, you got to keep it in mind.
You do, and I think they both don't want to listen to the other one. I think they definitely have a little of communication issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are physically strong enough, and they have some good skills to be able to advance in the race a little bit further. I don't see them being complete rock stars or anything like that. I think they are going to struggle a little bit though.
Yeah.
What's next?
Leo and Alana.
Is that 6?
That is 6.
6 is Leo and Alana. Why are they here?
I mean, horns aside, they also missed the top part of the truck, which delayed them as they kept looking over and over again. They also were in the second spot for the clowning around, and she had a very difficult time doing it. She couldn't get past the tightrope for, we don't know how many times.
Yeah.
They only showed us a couple, but it took her a while to get through it. So
sure.
that delayed them a lot.
For sure. And, they definitely have that. They said they started off behind. They did okay. But again, they had issue with balance, issue with some of it. And
Fear of heights is
fear of
basically
heights.
what it was.
And there's going to be a bunch of jumping coming up soon. I imagine more in the next
There's
couple.
always a bunch of
There's always a
heights
couple,
things,
yeah. And I think they have. They're one of those teams. I think if there's something that's right in their wheelhouse, they'll do great.
Yeah.
But I don't think they. I mean, they seem very. I don't want to say sheltered. Maybe they seem like they haven't had really a ton of things that really had to challenge themselves. I mean, other than academically.
I mean, they revolve around the nerd persona and try to fit the nerd persona, and just I don't think if you're gonna stick to that, you're gonna struggle in some of the other stuff coming up.
For sure, I think they need, they have things if they can use their intellect, they'll be great. But there's gonna be things that just they're not gonna be using intellect for.
Eventually, it's gonna be more strength stuff.
For sure. Sure. And they're physically fine shape, but I just think it's there's gonna be things that aren't gonna fit well.
Figuring stuff out.
All right. Who's number 5?
D'Angelo and Gary.
So they were lower last time. They were, and they really struggled the first week. I thought they underachieved the first week.
Yeah.
And I think this week they overachieved because they finished second, didn't they?
I mean, is it possible to overachieve? I mean, they finished second, which is good.
I don't think they're
it's overachieving. I just think they got their together a little bit more this week.
Sure, I agree. I don't think. Put it this way, I don't think they were the 10th best team last week,
I feel like agrees.
and I don't think they're the second best team this week. I think they're somewhere in the middle where we have them. I think they're again high variance. They can do, if there's something's right that's going to fit them well, strength, whatever. I think they'll crush it. I think there's something that they're going to do really bad with them too.
I mean, their teamwork is better, but I also think that they're going to butt heads.
Oh, for sure.
Going forward because it's just bound to happen.
For sure, I'm sure they both have egos.
But yeah, I mean, anything that comes to like being light on your toes, like the clown thing, or like anything artistic, they're gonna struggle with because I don't think either of them are great at it. But I mean, D'Angelo made it past the tightrope thing like nothing because, football players all about balance and stuff too.
For sure.
So I mean, that's fine, but music, art, anything like that is definitely going to be a struggle, I think, for both.
Like learning a language, that kind of stuff, I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah, especially I think Gary's going to struggle a lot more with that
Yeah,
stuff.
Gary seems like a dumb meathead, and he's on my winner's pick, so I like him. But.
I like them both. He definitely seems like more of that person.
For sure.
But
for sure. He's he definitely seems like that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
What is next? Number 4?
For Ashwar and Apara.
Yeah. So
siblings.
Yes.
Not the couple.
It's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
I'm gonna tease.
Whatever. It's yeah. Okay. They're brother and sister.
They are brother and sister.
That's fine.
You're saying because they bicker like couples?
No. They said they live in other cities. They want to get to like each other again. I think they said.
Yeah.
So or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like that's kind of how they said they set out the race. They haven't been connecting as a brother sister. And, that's why.
Yeah, I really don't even feel like whenever they show them, they don't really communicate a lot.
No.
I don't know how they kind of get through things sometimes. There's very little communication.
No, it's weird. They said that when they started off the race, they said they are very smart but very different, and they have very different lives. I was
just say they've seemed at least very calm, at least from what I remember
for sure.
Episode, so they're not freaking out.
Almost too much though. I feel like they kind of are like they kind of said last week. They kind of said I really don't care if we we get out early out first. It's like you should though.
It's gonna get pent up and he's gonna freak out like Colin.
I can see it. No, I can see that, and I can see somebody else doing that too. But we'll get to that. We're talking about that. I think they have. Again, they're very under the radar. They're not doing any not driving anybody crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of doing that. They're getting along with everybody, and they're just just getting by the challenge right at a time. They're not really they're not blowing anybody away. I wouldn't say, but they're also not doing terrible. They physically can handle the challenges. Mm-hmm. They're smart to handle the challenges. I think the communication is a little bit weird, and I don't know if they have that all-out drive. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Plenty seasons to go.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? Up to 3?
3. Michelle and Victoria, which I feel a little about them as I do as Ashwar and Apara, because only in the case that they're capable of doing things, but one is very more high-strung. I don't remember which one. One gets very high fast, and also for them attention to detail too, not like looking at things, taking their time, and they also always seem to fall back for whatever reason.
That's true. I think there's some challenges. I really think that they are good at the challenges. I think they're good at the challenges. I think their problem is after the challenge and getting to the challenge and the actual traveling part of the race.
Yeah.
I think the challenges they're good at. It's just the other things.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. and they said they did fine with the piano. It wasn't great, but it was fine.
The what?
The piano, the first one.
Oh, you mean steel drum?
Steel drum, yeah. So they played
they were talking, they played the piano. Yeah. That didn't help you that much because it took you a couple times.
Yeah.
But
anywho. Yeah, this challenge is kind of the same thing. But yeah, I agree. They do always kind of seem to slip back a little bit. They finished pretty high this time, but I wouldn't put them really overall all that great of a chance because I think they do kind of seem like they.
Attitude's going to come to effect.
Yeah, I think they're going to
pretty soon.
Butt heads pretty soon.
Sure. Yeah.
What's next?
Riley and Madison.
Riley and Madison, Survival Brothers.
Comes after 3.
Yes. Nobody knows that. 2 comes. Yeah,
2 comes before 3, but we're going backwards. So
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Nobody knows that though. So Riley and Madison, why do we got them here?
I mean, they work pretty well together as a team. They always
play professional sports together.
Yeah, I mean, they're always pretty much level-headed. They haven't really gotten on each other that much about anything. They stopped to figure things out. I'm pretty sure they were one of the first or they may have been the first that figured it out right away. Or at least the second.
I think they
were the second, because they weren't the first for the episode.
They finished second.
Second.
Yeah, but
so they figured out the horn very quickly, and they were there with a couple other teams.
For sure.
So I mean, they're good at taking a step back. I'm pretty sure they brought the clue, and then they figured out what was wrong.
Definitely. It's that, and I said before that their body type is like the people who are going to win the Amazing Race. Mm-hmm. If you're an athlete. It's not going to be the D'Angelo and Gary's. It's going to be the Riley Madisons. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the.
Oh, I know.
It's going to be there have been one team of professional athletes that won the Amazing Race. Mm-hmm. It was the Tagley brothers, hockey players.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the team that do well. The Olympians in a couple seasons ago, they did really well. They were skiers. Mm-hmm. The surfers. It's the ones who are physical athletes, but it's the cardio athletes. It's not the big bulky athletes who do really well, and they have the body type for, longevity for that kind of stuff. I think they're in real good shape.
Yeah. Endurance, that
kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know how their, what their gray matter is like, but I think we'll see how if they get any challenges that really test their smarts. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I think they are as strong as just about any other team, at least physically, and I think they communicate pretty well too, obviously, based on the fact that they play sports together.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And who was our team of the week?
Tongue and cheek.
Second week in a row. Won the first 2 legs. Can't really argue with that.
For a married couple, they get along pretty well.
Yeah, and I said last week, I feel like they could have issues here and with the communication, fighting, whatever. But they said they had 3 kids and they haven't really had a chance to do anything for themselves well. So I'm excited for that.
I don't even get that vibe off of them.
No, me neither.
I don't foresee a blowout coming up. I don't foresee a bickering coming up. They're pretty calm, cool, and collected and smooth sailing from all of this.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried about him, honestly. I think she's going to be great. I'm a little worried about him. But then again, there have been times where she's taken the lead, and he's been more than happy to step back.
Yeah.
And I know culturally there's some things like that where, the dominant and some more submissive have role in the relationship. But it doesn't seem like that's really a thing with them. I mean, it seems like, I've been waiting kind of for him to be like, no woman, blah, blah, blah. And I just don't know if that's going to happen. I kind of had that vibe that was something, he wasn't going to take, he was going to listen to her, he was just going to try to go for it with his idea and not listen to her. But he has had to step back, and she's shown to be capable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing. I think, when she shows that she can do just as much as he can do, I think that's really a huge weight off, especially because the married couples who do well spread it out. She does part, he does part, and they work really well. And the married couples who don't do well are the ones who one of the partner holds the other one back, and then they have to overcompensate, and it gets a whole big thing. But I think they both are pretty equal. I mean, she said being shorter was made it easier for her to work on the truck. So it's a cool thing, right? Did you say that?
I didn't even hear what you said.
Working on the truck.
What about it?
Being shorter.
Oh yeah, she could fit behind it and get everything together.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't feel any kind of blowout coming because I think he knows where his strengths and weaknesses are, and if you can't admit that you're not good at something, then you're not going to do well at this race because you're going to want to show, well, I can do it and I can figure this out. It's a competition. This isn't the time to show your
spouse.
macho-ness and show
for sure.
people, and you have to be willing to step back and let somebody else take control of it if you're not doing it.
And so far so good. So I mean, I hopefully for their sake they do keep it going well, and I think they certainly can. I said I'm a little bit worried. I could see it happening, but I mean maybe they'll.
They have 3 children together, 3 boys together.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for them. They have to join fronts probably for all that stuff. So I feel like they've got it all pretty figured out.
I hope so. We'll see what happens. I have a little bit of fear, but so far so good. It hasn't shown up yet, so
yeah.
I have no other place to put them first. When you win the first 2 legs, you're gonna be first.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on this episode?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody being here and watching our video. Be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and share the post. And Jessica, how do you find me on Twitter?
Just TH.
You can find me on Twitter, YoGrabbaGabba. Be sure to subscribe, share the post, tell your friends. Email show paperandproductions@gmail.com, facebook.com/paperandproductions. And we'll be back soon with the latest episode of the latest episode 3. Should be coming out here very soon. Until then, safe travels.